Hi guys, today there was a press conference held in Austin, Texas about Heidi Broussard and Margot Carey, who are both missing. This is the missing mother if you haven't heard about it, and the 3-week-old baby named Margot, who went missing on, or last seen, on December 12th. After going to the school to drop her 6-year-old son off. And then police believe went back to her apartment and then was not seen after that. So if you want to get some more details on the case, you can go back to an earlier video of mine, which I'll link in the video description. But right now we're going to talk about what was said at the press conference today. And I'm going to let you know what I think. Okay, so very little was said at the press conference, and I'm going to get into just what I think about that. Okay, so let's look at what was said. They said they were working continuously to locate Heidi and Margot. And then there was like a little slip of the tongue at the next thing. Not getting into the person of interest, no person of interest at this time. Okay, and I'll get into more about that in just a minute. The FBI is getting involved, and it's actually, if you remember the Watts case, when Graham Coder got involved, he got involved for the same reason, and that's because the FBI's Child Abduction Deployment Response Team gets involved with missing cases like this with children. So that's not unusual. I would find it unusual if they weren't. Okay. They believe that Heidi and Margot are alive at this time. They feel Heidi may have left on her own accord, or it could be foul play. They said they were working all angles of this case. They said that there are a lot of tips that are being promoted on social media sites and stuff, and they should really be called in to the Austin Police Department at 512-974-5250, because that's where they're going to be investigated. They can be missed on social media, which is exactly why I said yesterday, if that is indeed a ex-boyfriend of Heidi who does care about her, why in the world would that person not call into law enforcement? I don't know. And then they said they are getting assistance on the local, state, and national level with this search for Heidi and Margot. Now, regarding questions from the audience there, somebody asked about the Amber Alert, like we discussed before. They said the situation does not meet the criteria for an Amber Alert, that they're talking with neighbors, family, friends. They're also talking with coworkers and past coworkers. They're looking at the electronic footprint, okay? And they believe again that the last place Margot and Heidi, the last place they were was at the apartment. So that's where they're, began their search and everything, and that's where they're canvassing the neighbors. Okay, my thoughts. Very little information. Reminds me of the Frazee case when Kelsey was finally reported missing. Very little was released to us in it, and Patrick Frazee, who definitely appeared to me that he had something to do with it, seemed to just be given a really, really long leash, and it seemed to take forever to make the arrest. But I did say back then that I think they are telling Kelsey's mother to be quiet and tight-lipped, to not go after Patrick, to not get upset with Patrick, because that could set him off, and they were trying to get information. So when they had press conferences and things, you know, I just had such a vibe that they knew way more than they were letting on, and they were just waiting to get exactly what they need in order to have a strong case. And that is exactly it. And then, you know, right away we find out, you know, we know more now that they had Crystal going up there, and then they had, you know, his arrest, and it fell into place. So this kind of reminds me of that, in the fact that they're not going to talk about a person of interest. They're not going to go on there and say, yeah, Shane is our person of interest, because much in the way that Scott Peterson, remember they had Amber Fry calling him with a wire. So they're just not going to go on there and just start, you know, blabbing about that. Even in the Chris Watts case, they weren't blabbing that Chris was a person of interest when he indeed was, right? And they were very nice to him at the police interviews. Oh, you don't have to not go back to the house. But again, they asked him to stay out of the house and all of that stuff. Meanwhile, remember, he wasn't publicly announced to be a person of interest. So that is a tactic, and so I don't put too much, you know, stock in that. And plus, it seemed like they almost misspoke when they were speaking and said they don't want to get into it. And I think that's more apt to describe what is going on there. Okay, so that clears up that. And you know, what's been happening, we don't know what's been happening behind the scenes. Have they brought search, trauma, cadaver dogs into the apartment? Have they brought them around the vehicles? You know, what's going on? The CCTV, have we looked anyplace else? Was there any, you know, what was canvassed in the area? Convenience stores, businesses, stuff like that, to see what's going on with her cell phone. Has it pinged anywhere? Can we get the whereabouts of it anywhere? You know, anything like that. What about Shane? Again, we hear that he worked for a moving company. Well, did we check out his hours and make sure he was where he said he was, when he said he was? Did they look towards this friend in the complex that he mentioned that she might have been visiting with? Does that friend even exist? Do we know that? I don't know. Did, you know, they look in the vehicles? Did they look for clues? I'm sure they did, but to what extent? To what extent? And just there's so much there. Like why are they letting him stay in that house? You know, they got Watts out of the house. They let him stay that first night, and remember, it smelled like chemicals and everything when he got back in. You know, he apparently wasn't a person of interest, but they wanted to go in there to search and see what they could find and not have things disturbed. So they have every reason to ask Shane this stuff the same way. And I don't know. I mean, do I know for certain that Shane is or is not staying in the house? No, I don't know. I think they are watching him closely. I think they might even be questioning him the way they questioned Watts, having him come down. You know, again, did they remove him from the house or not? We don't know. Are they going to? We don't know. Is it already too much time has passed? There's a lot of days that have passed that he could have cleaned up and destroyed evidence, right? If they didn't get it out. Now, they did go in, I know, and they did take some things, but what about cadaver dogs? What about trauma dogs? Are they running surveillance on him the way they did with Watts? You know, they had someone surveilling his whereabouts and where he went and all of that. Again, are they searching the house and removing items like they did with Watts? We know they have some items. Are they continuing to do that? Or they, you know, gathering more evidence. I don't know. I'm wondering about his work trucks. I'm wondering about if he ever brought them home to the apartment complex. I'm wondering if he had friends in trucks. I'm wondering if anybody saw him moving a carpet or anything like that that could have concealed a body, you know, a tote, a large tote. I'm wondering about areas nearby. Have they been searched, you know, where somebody could, you know, have been, if foul play occurred, have been buried. Sad to say, but I mean, these things have to be checked out here. So many questions. The police are tight-lipped, but it's my opinion they know much more than what they're saying. And again, we go back to, you know, please asking for prayers, good thoughts that Heidi and Margot will be found alive and well. You know, it is what everyone would like, but as the days go by, I think it makes us have a, you know, we're not so certain of a favorable outcome. You know, why would she leave her 6-year-old? Let's say she was choosing to leave. Why would she leave her 6-year-old? Why would she leave her purse, her wallet, her diaper bag, the infant's car seat? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it reminds us of other things that don't make sense like that. You know, if someone was leaving, like, okay, let's say he got violent and she had to run, right? Just run out. Okay. But wouldn't she have contacted family or friends by now to let them know? So, I mean, it's sad. But keep the prayers and good thoughts, and, you know, maybe we will have a pleasant surprise. And remember to report any sightings of Margot or Heidi to the Austin Police Department. Any tips? Don't just leave them on a social media, you know, comment or a message board. Make sure you get them to the Austin Police Department. 512-974-5250. That's 512-974-5250. And we'll talk about this more in tonight's live, along with more of Mark and Teresa Seaver's discovery, and also some of the Mike Jones discovery. And I think we'll look at another interview of his, if I don't get it uploaded first. But there is one that I uploaded today if you want to look at that, so we can discuss. But everybody have a great day, and thank you for watching.